Hello, Northsound Telecom, back with another video. And today I'm going to be instructing you on how to have a FreePBX hosted on the cloud using Linode. The first step that I'm going to do is I'm going to create a Linode, and FreePBX does use a bit more resources, so I'm going to select the $20 shared one. And this is just for the basic system. I'm going to create a password using SSH key and set the region. That should be all that I need to do. And I can create it, wait for it to provision. Now it's provisioning. Now I'm going to power it off. And now that it's powered off, I'm going to clear the configurations as well as the storage versions that it has. Okay. Cleared out the storage, and I'm going to clear out there. Okay. Now I'm going to create two disks. The first one is going to be the installer for our FreePBX. So I'm going to call it installer, and it is going to be file system raw. Let it do that. Then I'm also going to create the other one called FreePBX, also raw. Now I'm going to work on the configurations, and there's going to be two. So the first one is going to be the installer, and then set the kernel as direct disk, set SDA as FreePBX and SDB as the installer, set the root device to dev SDB because we want to use the installer, and then disable all the file system / boot helpers. Now we're going to create the one for FreePBX. Pretty much the same settings, except you don't need to switch the SDB. It just stays on SDA since there's no installer needed for this. And again, you disable the boot helpers. Okay. Now I'm going to reboot it into rescue mode. Make sure that it looks like that. Now it's rebooting. And now I have to get our actual ISO of FreePBX onto the system. I got the link to download FreePBX, and I need that. Okay. So another command I have to put in is curl. There we go. And so it's curl https:/that link, then the straight filter bar that's not an I, then dd space of equals /dev/SDA. Then going to install that onto the installer portion of the volumes that we created earlier. All right, so it just finished up and copied the installer, the ISO file, onto here. So now I can reboot the Linode, and I'm going to reboot to the installer. Okay, so it has booted. So now we're going to launch the Lish console again. And this time we're going to go to Glish rather than WebLish. Okay, I'm going to select *18. That's what I've mostly used, but you can use whatever version you want. Then select graphical installation, output to VGA, FreePBX standard, and it's going to start to install. Okay, after it has gotten installed, you're going to start and you're going to be greeted with this page where you have to configure all the settings for your PBX. So that's what I'm going to do now. Mostly it's just letting it install onto the actual FreePBX boot volume from the installer. There we go, now it does. Now it's going to install all the things that it needs to onto the actual FreePBX partition, and I'll be back when that finishes. All right, the installer is finished, and now we can reboot, and we should load into FreePBX, and we can start the initial install. That is all the time I do have for this video. If you want more in this series on configuring a cloud PBExec or FreePBX, leave me a comment or like the video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.